Hey Mooney, Stella Utama-kun here, bringing you the next review in my little anime review, revisit, rewatch thing. Same ordeal as always. You get to look at a picture of the menu screen while I talk about the episodes that are on this particular disc. In this case, it's episodes 24 to 31. As you can see from this menu screen, we are getting Makoto in this season. This disc starts off with a literal bang. Episode 24 is Naru's Tears, Nephrite Dies for Love. Sorry, I had to take my headphones off. It was very weird talking and hearing myself so clearly. So, this episode was very freaking emotional, even in the butchered, censored, watered down for little whittle kitties English dub. And let me just go on record in saying it is 10 times worse in the sub. Like, it is very emotional, regardless how you feel about the whole Naru Nephrite ship. Hearing her scream of absolute despair will send anyone worrying. It literally reminds me of, for anyone that is a fan of Full Metal Alchemist, it literally reminds me of when his daughter is screaming and crying and asking her mother, like, why are they burying Daddy? He's got important work to do. And it's just like, apparently, I don't know about the sub, but in the dub, which is basically what I saw that scene in both times, and then I got impatient and finally watched it subbed because I couldn't wait for new episodes of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood to come out. But in the dub, her voice actress literally had to do that take so many times, so her voice was tired. It was showing the fatigue. So basically the plot sorry, I got sidetracked here. The plot surmise for this episode was, that Nephrite is still trying to investigate Naru. He's not fully understanding that his crystals reacting to her love for him. He tries to trick her. I don't remember the full dialogue of how it is in the sub, but it's basically something along the lines that he's tired of working for the Dark Kingdom. He wants to join Sailor Moon. So he's trying to use Naru to figure out who Sailor Moon is. And, and Zoisite figures out that Naru is in love with Nephrite, and that Nephrite may actually care for her back, and uses his Yoma to capture Nephrite, which ultimately leads to his death because he protects her, and it is just overly emotional. Even Usagi, Rei, and Ami shed tears for it. It's a very powerful episode. I didn't see this until later when I was a kid. When I started watching Sailor Moon, I caught it in late season 1, or maybe in R. I know when I started recording it on the TV, on VHS tapes, we were in R. The first episode I ever recorded was when Rei battles Cone at the temple. And then, of course, it eventually restarted when it got to where the lost episode should have kicked in. Well, what Deke called the lost episodes anyways, because they weren't ready to air that nonsense. But I can't tell you what the first episode I ever saw, but I do remember I hadn't seen Nephrite or Jedi until way later. Um, but yeah, it was Nephrite dies an honorable death, and it's emotional. So the next episode is episode 25. It's Jupiter, the Powerful Girl in Love, and this marks the debut of Makoto Kino, Sailor Jupiter, who is the fourth Sailor Senshi to join Usagi's team. But if you want to look at it in the actual literal sense, she's actually the fifth and final of the Inner Senshi. We just aren't supposed to freaking know that yet. This also begins the Rainbow Crystal arc, filler arc of the anime. Um, this shows Queen Beryl partially awakened Queen Metalia. Zoisite's given his mission to find the seven great Yoma to acquire their rainbow crystals. And the Rainbow Crystal filler arc is one I actually kind of enjoyed. It wasn't overly drawn out. It's literally 7 episodes, and it wraps up pretty quick. Well, maybe a little bit more than 7 episodes, but it's not bad. It's not an overly bad filler arc. It gives Makoto time to develop. I know I bitched and complained about how long the fillers drag out this anime, but the Rainbow Crystal arc, I don't mind. I mean, look, I'm talking about how long it drags it out. I mean, this is episode 25, and we're just getting to Sailor Jupiter. In the manga, she's there by chapter 5. So, of course, everyone's afraid of Makoto. I'm looking at a page because obviously it's been a while since I had watched this. Because, like I said, I'm almost done with Sailor Moon R by now. So I've got the Wikipedia page with a brief synopsis of every episode, and I love how they call Makoto tomboyish. Makoto is anything but. She's very feminist. I mean, she's kind of gender fluid, kind of in a way, because she does have some Herculean-like strength, but if anything, that comes from her guardian planet literally being Jupiter, who is the Roman equivalent of Zeus. So, you know. Of course, Makoto has a thing for falling in love with people that, in some way, shape, or form, resemble the guy who broke her heart. In this time, I can't remember the dude's name. It was the first Rainbow Crystal incarnate. And, yeah. Zoisite gets the crystal, yada, yada, yada. The next episode, 26, is Restore Naru's Smile, Usagi's friendship. Rightfully so, Naru is still very depressed about losing Nephrite. So Usagi, with Umino, take her out to have some fun. The second Rainbow Crystal target is a priest for whatever reason. And this is where where Mamoru realizes that he is Tuxedo Mask. And we get to see him de-transformed by the Rainbow Crystal he retrieves from the fight. He also drops a locket on the ground where Usagi finds it. And this locket is so freaking important. And I am glad that the the 90s anime kept this Clay, sorry. I'm looking at Clay. Kept this locket in. Because it's so important. There's not really much else to say about this. This is the episode that starts to begin the Naru Umino romance. And they're a cute couple. I don't really have much to say about them. I mean, unfortunately, now that Usagi is getting more and more friends, Naru is getting more and more pushed to the side, which I understand that because they want to focus on her mission as a Sailor Senshi, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, Usagi is not the type of person to just abandon her friends to the side like that. She's not. This is not the Usagi that we have seen. And I haven't read the manga in a while, but I will be watching Crystal, and I don't think Naru is as a prominent role of a friend of Usagi's. And like she's there, but she's not like a big role. So I don't know. I got off track. So moving on. The next episode, 27, is Crushing on Ami, the boy who can see the future. Now, this is where they're attempting to give Ami a boyfriend. And, like, okay, cool. You don't want to leave her in the dust, but Ami is mainly interested in one thing, and that's focusing on her studies, and that's okay. It's not that she's anti-men or anything. She just wants to learn to become a doctor and focus on that for now. Like, let her do that. Why did the 90s anime make it feel like they needed to have these girls all needed to have men? So yeah, Ami's supposedly the guy that's crushing on Ami. Urara. He can see into the future. He's a rainbow crystal holder. He knows that he is. He knows he'll become a monster. He also knows Ami is Sailor Mercury. It's just... This is the rainbow crystal that the Sailor Senshi end up with. So that leaves one with the Dark Kingdom, one with Tuxedo Mask, and one with the Sailor Senshi. I feel like I should bring up now, this also begins an arc that did happen in the manga, but it's not as long as this. Well, I guess it is about as long, where they wonder, like, is Tuxedo Mask friend or foe? Because he's an enigma. In the manga, he's portrayed as a jewel thief because he's looking for the silver crystal. So Luna's like, oh, you can't really trust him, blah, 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 blah. And now in this, he's like, the silver crystal will be mine. So it's the same thing. So I feel like the rainbow crystal is where they were, arc is where they were trying to bring the manga into it. But they kind of went off the rails a little bit and forgot. Or did what they could. I don't know. So 28 is my personal favorite of the Rainbow Crystal arc. And one of my favorite 90s anime episodes in general. The Painting of Love, Usagi and Mamoru get closer. So the fourth Rainbow Crystal thing is carrier. I can't remember her name. In the anime, in the dub rather, she goes by Lonnie Lanai. And then eventually her real name is Peggy Jones. in the sub, she only has one name. I can't remember what it is, but she just paints herself to look different. She wants Usagi and Mamoru to model, and eventually, they encourage her to be more out into the open. It's actually a really cute episode because you see Usagi and Mamoru. Actually, Usagi reveals that, she actually does think Mamoru is kind of cute. She is starting to crush on him. She's just, yeah. And then the dub had this too. The sub doesn't have Mamoru say anything back. The dub does say that he thinks she's cute too. And it's like, it was a cute, tender moment. And I did enjoy this. And the painting is freaking gorgeous. It is literally one of my all-time favorite episodes because of that. And Usagi learns that the locket that she found belongs to Tuxedo Mask, and he tells her to keep it. She asks him for the rainbow crystal. Zoe said, I got this one from the artist. Usagi asked Tuxedo Mask for the crystal, and he declines and said, I'm probably going to come after the one you have, so I guess that does make us enemies, and that's kind of foreshadowing to what's to come, and I hate how long that arc lasts, because it is a very painful arc. I mean, I know it's supposed to hurt, but it hurts. Like, a lot. So episode 29, Total Chaos, the Messy Love Rectangle. So Makoto, like Usagi, has developed a huge romantic crush on Motoki. They both compete to pursue him simultaneously, even though they found out that he has a girlfriend who is actually Crystal Carrier number 5. Now, she is debating on studying abroad in Africa, and he tells Mamoru that he sees Usagi and her friends as like little kid sisters, and that is one thing that always bothered me about the 90s anime. Mamoru and Motoki are not as old as they're made out to be. In this incarnation, they're made out to be university students. They're supposed to be in high school. They're not supposed to be in their 20s. They're supposed to be like 18. 17, 18. And just, I'm not going to even jump on that bandwagon. So yeah, spoilers, Motoki's girlfriend, like I said, is a crystal carrier. And I believe this is an episode where, yes, it is. No, the one with the artist is the one where Usagi saves Tuxedo Mask for a change. Usually it's the other way around. Even though it shouldn't be, considering she's the literal goddess. But, what do I know? I'm not an animation writer. Episode 30 is Grandpa loses control, Ray in danger. So Ray's grandfather, who sucks in this incarnation, by the way. I much prefer her manga grandfather. This one made him a creepy old man that likes to flirt with young girls. He is not like that at all. The dub tried to hide that, by the way. So Zoisei aggravates the crystal inside of him, which makes him hyperactive and unstable. A young man named Yuichiro wanders into the shrine. He falls for Rei and asks to work there, and it's just... Rei is awful to Usagi in this episode. She is god awful. Like, she gets mad, she pushes her, and for no reason, she gets mad that they won't help her after she pushes Usagi. Makoto tells Usagi not to cry over everything, and Ami, precious Ami, is like, you didn't have to push her, and Rei just has a temper tantrum. It's like, girl, I understand you're worried about your grandfather, but berating your friends, that, especially the one that you know is literally the one that can heal people, because no one stops to think for a minute that, oh, hey, maybe there's something going on. Maybe, just maybe, it's his... It could be, a supernatural thing from the Dark Kingdom. Usagi has the moon stick. She could heal him. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that in the episode with Makoto's debut. She is given the moon stick and is told by Luna she's going to be the leader. This is much to the dismay of Rei, who does not want Usagi to be the leader, and it's just... The dub makes this worse. They're supposed to go on strike or whatever, and just... Yeah. Sorry, forgot to mention that little detail. So, the disc wraps up with the last and final of the Rainbow Crystal Carriers. Love and Chase, Luna's worst day ever. Luna becomes the object of a very ordinary fat cat's attentions. He's called Hercules in the dub, but his name in the sub is Rhett Butler. Both Zoisite and the Sailor Guardians detect traces of the last rainbow crystal around the home of this cat owner. They think it's the little girl that owns the cat. That's who Zoisite sees in the picture. He sees a little girl holding a cat, so he's like, oh, it's the little girl. And when the little girl answers the door, Usagi's wand is going off, so they're like, yep, little girl. But then they finally put two and two together, and like, no, it's the cat. It's a very hilarious episode. There's parodies of him being Tuxedo Mask, because he throws a fishbone like the rose to save Luna from the cat gang war. It's funny. It is very, very funny. And it was a good closure to the Rainbow Crystal arc, which is over, but it's not over. All the crystals are out. But the arc isn't over. That is going to wrap it up for this time. We are going to be delving into some heavy territory next time, because it's only going to get worse from here, folks. As always, thanks for watching. Remember that these are totally my opinion. You don't have to agree. But just remember, I do love Sailor Moon. I just have a preference for the original source material over this. If you liked it, leave a like, comment, subscribe for more Sailor Moon and other future anime reviews in the future. Bye!